Hello YouTube, Gaming Goddess here with a review on Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book. This is a Japanese role-playing game developed by Gus and can be played on the PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. Our game takes place in a small town known as Christian Bell, where our main character Sophie lives as an alchemist. Her powers allow her to combine items together to form entirely different items, as seen in previous Atelier games. So with that being said, this is the 17th game to the main Atelier series. Now let's get into the review. First, let's take a look at some of the new gameplay features that Atelier Sophie has to offer. Sophie can obtain ideas for new recipes by exploring, gathering materials, doing alchemy, and some in-game events. Some of these recipes are harder to obtain than others, but that's just the challenge that the game has to offer. As the player progresses through the game, the player can find different cauldrons that can be made and used to make better items. The predetermined shapes representing the ingredients that are being used are placed into a puzzle box-like design representing the cauldron. Alchemy in this game is more like trial and error. The player has to move the items around in a way that works for them. This playstyle is designed to give the players a little more freedom in the alchemy feature of the game. Now let's take a look at the doll maker feature. This allows the player to freely customize Plachta using custom items that were crafted with alchemy. The different items used will raise or lower Plachta's stats. The game offers 4 different costumes that Plachta can wear. Each costume is based on her stats, whether the player decides to make her more cute, brave, wise, or foolish. The player does have the option to buy DLC costumes at $3 a piece, but personally this wasn't 100% worth it to me, so I pretty much skipped over it. Now the game's new weather system and day and night system does in fact change how the game's world will change. Certain items or enemies will appear and shops will offer special discounts. This is a really cool feature in my opinion. So if Sophie returns to the Atelier late at night, she will automatically sleep. Another cool feature in my opinion is that the player can do lots of alchemy without Sophie getting tired. I remember that in some of the previous games, if you crafted too many items, the character would pass out or they would fail a crafted item creation. Other than that, the rest of the game plays the same as previous Atelier games. The player can access shops, they can get weapons and armor made for them with the materials that they have at the specialty shops. The player can also accept requests. The player is able to explore the areas given to them as the story progresses, and when certain events happen, new locations will appear on the world map. Now let's talk about the battle system. The player will be able to see the monsters move freely in the area and will be able to swing their weapon at them. This will generally start a battle. Now, the battle system is pretty easy to understand. The player is able to control 4 party members. Each character has his and her own set of skills that they can use during a battle. Now, the player can pick between offensive or defensive. This is how the other party members will support each other during a fight. Offensive obviously meaning attacking support. Defensive is more of a defense type of support. The player can switch this at the beginning of each turn. Once the battle is over, the player will gain money, experience points, and items. Now the character's level maxes out at 20, and at first I thought this was a little bit weird, but as the player continues the fight, they will start to gain adventure points, which can then be added to increase a character's stats or upgrade their skills. That concludes the gameplay portion of the review. Now let's take a look at the graphics and audio that this game has to offer. Atelier Sophie offers both 3D cinematics and CG images. The only real animated cutscenes are the game's intro. This is pretty standard for an Atelier game. Now, I actually do love all of the cute costumes, pastel color, art style, and still images that these types of games have to offer. Nothing is ever perfect though, and there are the occasional texture glitches. As for the audio, this game has some decent music. Each area, certain boss fights, and even events will have its own background music. The music can be changed to the Atelier Chalet soundtrack, which is pretty cool in my opinion. Now let's take a look at some pros and cons based on my experience with this game. First, some pros would include a good story, decent music, cute costumes, no time limit, day and night system, a weather system, and a good general art style. As for the cons, the game's difficulty level can be switched freely through the game's setting. Overall, Atelier Sophie, the Alchemist of the Mysterious Book is a fun, cute game that just about anyone can enjoy. The overall gameplay is super simple and it doesn't take long to figure out. Plus, the game does offer easy, normal, hard, and despair levels of difficulty, so for those experienced Atelier players, they can experience a good challenge. I personally like a lot of the new game mechanics, especially the doll making feature. Plakta has some super cute outfits. Now, the characters in the game are actually pretty interesting. I love seeing good character development, and the game definitely has that. Playable characters as well as NPCs all have their own special events that the player can see during their playthrough. All of this really does is unlock CG images and give the player a trophy, but I personally like seeing these types of events. I really enjoyed playing this game, and I honestly wouldn't have been able to if my friend hadn't have let me borrow it. Atelier Sophie gets an overall rating of 8 out of 10. If you enjoy this video, feel free to leave a like. Also, leave me some comments down below with your opinion on the game, questions, or even requests. This has been a Gaming Goddess review, and remember to keep on gaming.